So here we go again, another video about failed celebrity marriages. You know, each time I have to do research for one of these videos, I get more and more surprised at how many celebrity marriages have crashed and burned. But hey, you guys seem to like it, so let's just jump right into the top 10 celebrities who immediately regretted their marriages, part 5. At number 10, Charlie Sheen and Donna Peel. We don't really hear much from Charlie Sheen these days. In fact, he's not really in the spotlight anymore, so I can't really say I know much about him. While doing a little research, I discovered that not only is his real name Carlos, but he's also been married 3 times. His shortest marriage being to a woman named Donna Peel. Donna is a model/actress who since leaving Charlie has pretty much disappeared from the limelight. Charlie met Donna in New York doing a photo shoot for a cigarette ad campaign in July of 1995. They had an instant attraction and they started dating immediately. 6 weeks later, they were wed on September 3rd, 1995 during an extravagant beachfront ceremony. Charlie seemed to have been head over heels for Donna, as he once said in an interview, quote, "She's an angel sent from heaven to take me through the rest of my journey." Eventually, this perfect relationship started to crumble and things just ended as fast as they began. 6 months after getting married, their marriage was over. Charlie ended up filing for divorce from Donna, saying that this marriage was suffocating him and that he, quote, "had to come up for air." Charlie also compared his marriage to Donna to a car, saying that if it breaks down, it's wise to let it go. From what I've read, there doesn't really seem to be much animosity between them, and it was seemingly a mutual decision to break up, but they probably regretted getting too serious too fast. At number 9, Shannon Doherty and Ashley Hamilton. Beverly Hills 90210 star Shannon Doherty was head over heels in love in 1993. Upon meeting actor Ashley Hamilton, their spark quickly turned into a big old flame and things escalated quickly. Just 2 weeks after meeting, they decided, hey, this is a perfect time to get married, and so they did. They were married on September 24th, 1993 in a super quick DIY ceremony held in Shannon's backyard. Things were put together so quickly that Shannon didn't even have a dress to wear, so she wore a white silk bathrobe and bare feet to walk down the aisle. They didn't even invite most of their closest friends and family to the wedding. Their marriage lasted a little over a year, which is actually much longer than I thought it would, judging by how fast they got together, but they eventually hit rock bottom and called it quits after Shannon filed for divorce in 1994. Shannon cited irreconcilable differences as the reason for their divorce. It is said that the reason why their marriage ended was because Ashley claimed Shannon threatened him with a pistol, but we don't really know for sure. Now, before I carry on with the list, I'd like to ask you guys to consider leaving a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, because it really helps the channel out, and also head on over to my gaming channel Viper Girl for some extra fun while you're at it. At number 8, Rudolph Valentino and Jean Acker. Now, even though this relationship was from a long time ago, that doesn't mean it doesn't count. This was some high-profile stuff during the early days of Hollywood, so just go with it. Silent film actor Rudolph Valentino and actress Jean Acker had one of Hollywood's shortest marriages, having lasted only 6 hours. Rudolph, known in the film world as the Latin lover, impulsively married Jean in 1919. Though Jean wasn't really into the whole idea, she agreed to marry him in 1919 in order to save her from a scandal. Before Rudolph, Jean was in a lesbian love triangle, but since that was frowned upon at the time, Jean went ahead with the marriage just to save her reputation and career. Just shortly after the ceremony, however, she began to regret her decision to marry and locked her new husband out of their honeymoon suite. After trying to get into their room for about 20 minutes, Rudolph just gave up and headed home that night. They eventually got a divorce and decided that they never consummated the marriage. At number 7, Ethel Merman and Ernest Borgnine. You know, sometimes marriage just isn't for everyone. That's perfectly okay after all. I mean, you do what you want. But I mean, for some couples, they're just not meant to be. Take Ethel Merman and Ernest Borgnine for example. These two Hollywood stars hit it off, and even though they both had 2 failed marriages under their belts by the time they got together, that didn't stop them from trying. The couple got married in June 1964 during a star-studded ceremony. Those in attendance included stars like Dick Van Dyke and Angie Dickinson. Though their wedding was a big to-do, their marriage certainly was not, as it only lasted about a month before calling it quits. After their wedding, they went on a long honeymoon, and this is where things started to unravel, because while they were in public, Ernest was gaining more recognition than Ethel, and she just didn't like that. This fueled jealousy and made for a toxic match, so by the time they returned from their honeymoon, they were already over this whole marriage thing and decided to call it quits. At number 6, Audrina Patridge and Corey Bowen. The Hills star Audrina Patridge and BMX athlete Corey Bowen had a toxic and tumultuous relationship that really was just negative all around. After about 7 years of dating, the couple got engaged in November of 2015 and were soon married by the following year after welcoming their daughter Kira into the world. By 2018, they were done and the legal battle began. Audrina alleged that Corey was violent towards her. Leading up to their official divorce, Audrina had been granted a restraining order preventing Corey from being within 100 feet of his wife and daughter. Audrina claimed that Corey was very aggressive towards her on multiple occasions and she just couldn't take it anymore. Luckily, she was able to get out of that abusive relationship and probably regrets getting into it in the first place. At number 5, Halle Berry and Olivier Martinez. Halle Berry has been in a few high-profile relationships, but her most recent relationship with actor Olivier Martinez was her shortest. Having been together for only 2 years, they didn't get to carry out much of the things that they wanted to do together, like moving abroad. Halle and Olivier met on set while working on the film Dark Tide in 2010 and Tied the Knot in 2013. Also welcoming in their son Maceo. Though things were good for a while, Halle's past relationship with Gabriel Aubry started to put a strain on her marriage because she was forced to stay in the LA area while she got through her legal battle with him. Because of this, it put a halt on her plans to move to Europe with Olivier. Eventually, the two grew apart, having to be away from each other for work and other commitments. If Halle didn't have to deal with her other troubles with her ex, then maybe things would have been different, so maybe she regrets that relationship more than her marriage to Olivier. At number 4, Colton Haynes and Jeff Letham. Arrow actor Colton Haynes and celebrity designer Jeff Letham had a very short-lived marriage that only lasted about 6 months. These two were set up in the most Hallmark movie way possible, having a meet cute in an airport and passing notes on an airplane, and even their engagement was perfect, featuring Cher, and their wedding was fabulous too because the one and only Kris Jenner officiated it. Things were picture perfect, but eventually that photo began to fade pretty quickly. 6 months after their star-studded wedding, Colton filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences, and shortly after, Jeff also filed, citing the same thing. Their divorce was pretty scandal-free for the most part, but it also was a bit mysterious. Both parties agreed to sign a non-disclosure agreement saying that neither one of them would share any information about the other person with anyone else. Seems a little extreme, but maybe there's a reason behind it. There was a rumor that Jeff had actually cheated on Colton, though that was never confirmed. It seems as though maybe there were some regrets about jumping into this whole marriage thing too soon, or even at all. At number 3, Janet Jackson and James DeBarge. The singer-songwriter and sister of the late Michael Jackson experienced her first shot at married life when she was only 18 years old. Janet married James DeBarge in 1984, but their marriage only lasted about a year. Before getting married though, they were good friends. It seems as though they had been in love for a while and just took the first opportunity that they got to get married. Though Janet's father Joe did not approve of their marriage, they went through with it anyway and were together for 15 months. After they split up, there had been a rumor swirling around that Janet and James had a child, but they gave it up for adoption in order to save their careers and public image after James brought this up in 2016. It was never proven, but still remains a wild theory. Janet eventually ended up getting the marriage annulled because of James' substance abuse as it began to take a toll on their relationship. Janet regrets having gotten married so young, but hey, you live and you learn. At number 2, Marilyn Monroe and Joe DiMaggio. Being one of Hollywood's biggest stars can be all fun and games, but it also puts a lot of pressure on some people's relationships. I mean, imagine being married to the industry's most popular star. When Marilyn Monroe and Joe DiMaggio married, it was a pretty big deal. The actress and the athlete looked like a beautiful match who was deeply in love, having met and married within a short amount of time. Some people believe that their marriage was rushed because it all took place within time that they got between work engagements. They got married in a quiet city hall ceremony in January 1954 and turned a work trip to Japan into their honeymoon, but just 9 months later the spark had faded and their relationship crumbled. Joe allegedly wanted a stay-at-home wife, but because Marilyn was at the height of her career, she wouldn't agree to that and wanted to keep working. Joe also apparently had a hard time coming to terms with his wife's image, and apparently her famous subway grate scene was the last straw. Their marriage ended with Marilyn citing mental cruelty as one of the reasons behind their divorce. She didn't like how he didn't want to support her, and that's just not what she needed in her life then. However, he did stay by her side until her sudden death in 1962. And finally, at number 1, Scarlett Johansson and Ryan Reynolds. Scarlett and Ryan's relationship is one of those that I forget ever happened. Though they were married for 3 years, apparently neither one of them was really into the whole marriage thing, and so they divorced. Simple as that. They got married in 2008 and the whole thing was pretty low-key. They didn't provide any details about their BC wedding to the press, and there are no pictures about it, so really all we know is that it happened. They didn't really share many details about married life either, at least until 2012 when they announced that they were splitting. As for why, well, Scarlett says that she was just too young to have known what she wanted, and some sources say that they fought a lot. They've since moved on with different people and are living their best lives separately. But maybe one day we will see them reunite on the big screens. Now, since we talked about the more negative side of marriage, let's get into some more positivity, and let me know down in the comments one thing that you like about the person closest to you. It could be your significant other, your best friend, or even your mom, so tell me about their best qualities down below. But anyways, that's been our list. I've been your host, Bree Room, and until next time, stay safe, make good choices, and stay groovy, friends. Bye. The Hill star Audrina Patridge and BMX athlete Corey, oh my god, and BMX athlete Corey Bowen, oh. Before getting married though, they were good friends. Janet had known and was friends with James since she was 13 years old. It seems as though they had been